watch the sun go down over the same old town, like so many times before. We look at the same old stars, battle the same old wars, like so many times before. And I know that we're not perfect, but I'm gonna miss all that we had. Yeah, I know that we're not perfect, but I need this night for the last time. Stay, stay. No, you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay. Stay. No, you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay. If you stay. No, you're gone in the
What is up, people? Terry here from Blunt Trips, coming to you from Fairmont Cemetery here in Denver, Colorado. I'm in block 15. And woo, it is hot out here today. I think we're getting close to 100 degrees here on this 4th of July in Denver. But let's get started on the story. Today we're going to go ahead and wrap up this series. But in part 1, I asked you guys a question. I asked you, who do you think should be held accountable for the deaths of both Louise Frost and Preston Porter Jr.? Now, I don't know if we'll ever know who killed Louise Frost for sure. I threw out another possibility that was never looked into. But I do have the answer today to the burning question that you guys asked me when I showed you episode 1. But first, I'm going to cover a couple other details before we close this out. People ask me, first of all, where did the parents go after Louise Frost was murdered and Robert Frost organized a mob of 300 white men that killed Preston Porter Jr.? Well, I found out the answer. They went to Nebraska afterwards. That's where they moved. I also found out Robert Frost's wife's name, who was Louise Frost and Faye Frost's mother. And her name was Mary C. Frost. Born in 1861, no month or birth date actual given, just year. And she too went to Nebraska. I do want to cover something though real quick. You guys have asked about a GoFundMe to put a headstone here. I'd like to let you know that it was looked into, and that would be illegal actually for the cemetery to put a headstone here, because someone in the family requested that these two girls' graves never get marked. I'm assuming it would have been Robert Frost. I also found out some more information. Robert Frost didn't just bury his daughter Louise Frost and Faye Frost, who died 4 years earlier, here on the same day. But Robert Frost, for some reason, bought 5 plots out here for a family of 4. Didn't make sense. Well, I can tell you this. I can't account for what Robert Frost has done after his daughter died and he moved to Nebraska. But I have the answer to the burning question today. I know where he's at. According to records here at Fairmont Cemetery, Robert Frost was right there the whole time. I was standing on his grave telling the story of his daughter and the horror that he did to Preston Porter Jr. But according to Fairmont Cemetery, Robert Frost died in Nebraska and was shipped here on October 23rd, 1936 to be buried right there. Now I know that's 3 plots. I know that his wife, who remained in Nebraska till she died on October 8th, 1945. And she too is buried right beside Robert Frost, Faye Frost, and Louise Frost. But there's a 5th plot. There's somebody else buried, I'm assuming, in that 5th plot, but who? Now we know that Robert Frost denied having a daughter in the media. When Louise Frost, he said that that was his only daughter, and we now know that that's a lie, because he's got a 2-year-old daughter that he dug up and buried on the same day. Her name was Faye. So, I am going to wrap this series up. There is one question that remains, and I'm not going to look into it. I just have too many cases. I looked into the case that was important to me, and that was the death of Louise Frost and Preston Porter. But the answer to the burning question that everybody asked me is, where's the father? Where did the parents go? They went to Nebraska, but they ended up right back here, not wanting to be found, requesting no headstone be put on their graves or their daughter's graves. More than likely because of what he did to Preston Porter. He knew by the time he died, times were starting to change, and it wasn't going to be good if he was found. Now, I did get this information from a subscriber who looked into this case after watching episode 1 and 2. And I will definitely put that subscriber's name in the credits at the end of this vlog. I do want to say something. Now, this channel is uncensored. It will always be uncensored. I don't regret making it uncensored, but if there was one episode that I did that I wish I didn't use the F-bomb, it would have been part 1 to the burning question. So if you haven't seen the burning question part 1, I will tell you now. It's got some raw language in it. I've learned from my mistakes. I'm moved on. I can't fix what's done. I learned not to use that kind of language in important crime cases so that people will watch them. Again, my channel will remain uncensored. But if you haven't seen part 1 of the burning question, and if you can look past the language, I suggest you go watch that video and learn about this case. Alright, I am going to wrap this episode up for now. Like I said, it is miserably hot out here. I hope I have answered all the questions from the burning question part 1 and 2. Again, this will be the last one for me anyways. I have spoken to other vloggers, and at least one of them, and mentioned this case for them to look into it. It's a possibility. But for me, it's time to move on. Oh, I do want to mention one more thing real quick. Now, I was informed, we did check before filming the episode where we put these bird seeds and decorations out. And we were told by a member of staff here that it was okay to do this. Now, I have since been informed, since the regular secretary has been back from vacation, that this is actually not allowed. That they will remove it due to maintenance on the grass. I will not remove these myself. I will not do it. I put these there for these girls to mark their grave because someone in their family chose not to mark their grave. But if at some point you do come out here to Fairmont Cemetery to show these girls some love and it's not here, don't think it's vandals. It is cemetery rules. It's just that once I put it up, there was no way am I taking it down. So, with that said, once again, I am Terry. You are watching Blunt Trips, and I am getting on out of here. Till next time, y'all try to stay cool, because it's a hot one. Later.
I know that I messed up, wish I could take it back, but it doesn't matter when you look at me like that. I know that I f***ed up, but that doesn't work as an excuse. Sorry doesn't cut it, but I'm sorry for what I did to you. Can only sleep with the TV on. Ever since you left, I'm going through the motions. I'm laying here looking at the door. Please come home, you belong by my side, babe. It's getting cold on the side where you used to sleep, so I get drunk, tangled up in these dirty sheets. I cannot live with myself if you call it quits. I'm gonna stay in this bed.
Like, share, subscribe, blunttrips.com.